so they introduced it to the public through the TV show SWAT, and that became the model. And then all departments wanted to be special paramilitary forces, and that the Pentagon and FBI were running it and funding it. And so that conditioned them with an us against them, no longer the guardian, no longer the peacekeeper, no longer of the people, now a separate group. And you saw that in all the children's programming. But tell them just about the show with Alec Baldwin, not Alan Watt, with Alec Baldwin, where they're all fighting to get the flu shot. And we checked, this was shot months ago, airing last week, perfectly to coincide with all of this. I mean, again, lady, and I'm getting all these YouTube clips of other shows simultaneously doing this, just like the movie Pearl Harbor comes out right as 9/11 hits, and they say, oh, it's just like Pearl Harbor. And, of course, the actors don't even know this, but this is the psychiatrist, the psychologist doing this. Tell them about it.
Yeah, if people don't know, 30 Rock is basically a spoof of Saturday Night Live behind the scenes. And what happens is people start getting the flu in the office, so everybody starts freaking out. And, of course, the CEOs, the big rich guys, are the only ones that can get the vaccination. So everybody's trying to weasel around and get the vaccines from the CEOs and be the chosen few that won't get sick from the flu. And then, of course, by the end of the show, the CEOs are okay, they took the shots, and everybody else is sick with the flu, giving out that message. You have to take the shot if you want to be okay. And if there's anything I learned from G.I. Joe Jones when I was a kid, is that knowing is half the battle. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to tell people the truth so they know what's going on.
Absolutely. And the other half's being willing to take the enemy on. But, I mean, Alan, I guess this works for the American Idol crowd, but don't people know they're being programmed constantly? Don't the actors like Alec Baldwin know that they're programming people to want to go out and take shots? Or do these people just say, hey, I'm going to join the dark side. I like being part of the elite. It's fun to get it over on the people.
Well, he knows. He knows. I know because I've seen him on Jay Leno and other shows, and he comes out with this little devil's corona sign with his forefinger and so on, and right in the camera, in fact. So much so that Leno even had to push it away at one point. So, yeah, he's well aware of what he's doing.
Really? So Alec Baldwin goes on TV doing the Diablo a lot?
Yeah.
And then you're saying he was doing it in Leno's face? And Leno's
he put his hand right up to the camera lens, and eventually Leno had to push it away.
Good God, what on the world is going on? I guess they just love the power trip.
Oh, they do. They do, especially when you're dealing with an ignorant public. Who are into the mind control, upgrading. The general public have no reality at all except what comes across that media. And that's what Brzezinski said in Between Two Ages in the 1970s. He says the public are being trained to accept that the media is there to do their thinking and their reasoning for them. This has been accomplished.
And this fear-mongering, again, is a beta test of that, with Napolitano, head of Homeland Security, saying this probably won't be a big deal, but another one's coming soon.
Yeah.
Is that to condition the subconscious to then think she's the great leader we can trust? Because after all, she predicted it.
That's right. It's all stage set for the general public to think it's all quite a natural progression as this all comes forth and the right people are put into the right positions to protect us. We're being trained as children, and to accept that we're children, and to allow those mature, special people, the experts, to rule our whole lives from birth to death. That's the whole point of the scientific era, the century of change. That's what it's all about.
And the elite, they're willing to make the hard decision and give us the cancer virus injections and poison our water. And, the elite even say, well, the future doesn't need us. And, we just got to be cold-blooded and scientific, that these people have to be culled and killed. Mm-hmm. And then they'll even say, look, you even warned them, Alex, and they don't listen, they don't understand. Yep. So, see, that's the evidence. We have to go ahead and do this to them. And it's just so sick to watch them mutate humanity and to take all of our weaknesses and to amplify them. Mm-hmm. It's just so hellish, Alan. Where do you see the economy going the next 4 or 5 months? I mean, it's really accelerating downwards. They're saying the new Bank of the World, the carbon tax will save us. As things get worse and worse, as people begin to revolt, what do you see them doing? Launching new wars, a new bio attack? What do you see happening?
What they expect is what they've told us themselves. The U.S. military, right after the British think tank for the British and NATO military, will escalate. There'll be riots over food, riots over poverty, riots over everything, basically, because they bring the Western countries down financially into a sustainable living pattern. That means vastly reduced consumption. That's what's all through the United Nations documentation from every one of their departments. So this is what they have told us is going to happen. So they're going to make it happen, obviously. And people will never revolt, and this is a sad truth, until if there's no organization, people will not revolt, and even then it's sporadic when they're against the wall. People don't like to buck the system and fight and kill. It's a nasty idea, but unfortunately, if there's no organization against this, you'll have sporadic riots, which is just a disorganized mob, and they're already prepared for that. They've been preparing for this for 30 years by building up SWAT teams, by bringing the police into the multi-jurisdictional task forces, sending them off to Iraq, by the way, where they get training, bashing down doors. It's been declared on Canadian television. Lots of our cops have had this training. They work with the military in the same uniforms. Then they come back to Canada, and now they double up as these special SWAT
And
teams.
now they've announced on Canadian TV and print that, the Army's just going to patrol the streets now to stop drunks and crime. And they announced the same thing here, and you're right. And if there is sporadic rioting and things, that will only help them, then tell the chicken neck fluoride head yuppies, oh, look, see, we need a police state because of rioting. And they'll say that's what caused the stock market to plunge today was the rioting. It wasn't the bankers. It was the rioters, Jason Burmis.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, they'll make up any excuse for the economy failing. I mean, I had Obama on stage in his fake State of the Union saying, you know what? All these high school dropouts, that's what's causing this economy to go down, and that's just not going to be a choice anymore. Then you read the GIVE Act and you realize everybody's going to have to graduate high school. As they're going through middle and high school, they're going to have to do mandatory service. On top of this, you're going to have to go to a trade school after high school if you don't want to go to college.
They're saying even if you're homeschooled, you're going to have to show up and serve the feds. Alan, this is going to be just a hellish system, but I guess all the dumbed down people who just bestially want authority, they're going to love the uniforms and the power they're given to then parasite on the rest of us. This is going to be sick.
That's true. There's no doubt about it. Once you're in a uniform, you're part of a fraternity. That's why militaries have used this technique of uniformity for so long. You are conditioned into being part of a brotherhood. The only guys you can trust are the guys in the same uniform. And you're told from the beginning you're now special, and you certainly get special privileges, etc., and you have a certain amount of protection against the things that you might do that the citizen couldn't. So you're right. We're going to have the exact things they showed us in all the scary, futuristic movies and sci-fi, a big police state worldwide, a world governmental system, and masses of poor people at the bottom. That's exactly what they're bringing in for sustainable development, supposedly.
All right, Alan Watts, our guest. We'll talk more about the fear-mongering, the flu, the new Bank of the World they're setting up. Jason Burmis, she'll be back tonight, 9 to midnight. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. TheInfoWarrior.com is his website.
The world appears to be on the brink of collapse. Experts say a pinch of heirloom vegetable seed could soon be the most valuable resource on Earth because it will provide healthy food now and every year after. Survivalistseeds.com now has the Heirloom Garden Seed Time Capsule, allowing you to store your seeds for the future anywhere, even underground, for 100 years. The Heirloom Garden Seed Time Capsule can withstand 3 tons of weight, is 100% rodent-proof, waterproof, and comes with a whopping 6,000 healthy vegetable seeds from 20 varieties that will grow anywhere in the USA. Unless you trust the government, the Heirloom Garden Seed Time Capsule and heirloom seeds from Survivalistseeds.com is your long-term food solution. Our competition charges 10 cents to $1.25 per seed for these same heirloom varieties. But you can now have a head of lettuce, a bundle of carrots, a basket of tomatoes, a giant watermelon, and 16 other varieties for about a penny a seed each. Be prepared. Buy your heirloom seeds today from Survivalistseeds.com and have food insurance for your family forever. Visit Survivalistseeds.com. Survivalistseeds.com is owned by Big John Lipscomb, host of the Don't Tread on Me radio show.
Alan, I know that the New World Order crowd moves slowly because they want to test things, gauge things, beta test. They admit that. You read that. You cover that in all your great research at cuttingthematrix.com. But, I'm seeing desperation in their eyes. I know they've got all this science and all this slick ways to control us, but more and more people fundamentally don't like the system and don't like what it's doing and are saying no to anything and everything they push. I think there is a light at the end of the tunnel that is not an oncoming train. What are solutions in your mind and your prognosis? I mean, is there anything good at the end of this? Is there any way to get out of this, in your opinion?
Being led by specialists in every area of their lives and start reclaiming their own personal sovereignty to begin with. So we've been conditioned, not just in one generation, but over a